Hi everybody, welcome to another video at Abraham's Table Farm. Right now it is the beginning of July and the garden is going gangbusters, everything is growing and we are really busy just keeping up with it all. But we are past the hump in the middle of the season. So the solstice came and went at the end of June and that signals a pretty big shift in the season for us. A lot of things that have been growing and going towards fruiting and flowering are now slowing that process down as the daylight diminishes. The CSA has only been going for less than half of the total weeks, but we have been working for a long time. Remember that we start our seasons way early, back in February, March, and do a whole lot of work before anyone gets any harvest. So we are past our halfway mark in the season, and that feels really good to be finally at this point where we're starting to be downhill. Things aren't really slowing down yet for us, but at least we know we're past that midpoint in the season. You can see behind me that a lot of things have grown since the last video. I did take a break for a couple weeks just to focus on some other things around the farm, but things have kept growing all this time and you are gonna see a lot of changes since the last video. So let's walk around, see where the crops are at, see where the animals are at, see how things are going, and just check in with the farm. Let's go. We'll start right behind me in the flower plot. There's a lot of things coming, budding up, and we are starting to harvest a lot of color and bouquets, which is really exciting. This has been Debbie's project this season, and she's doing great. Lots of color coming in and a whole lot more yet to come. Really exciting just to see how neat and tidy and colorful and beautiful it is in here. And yeah, still tons of blooms to come. Cucumbers in the tunnels. We've got one of the older crops here and one of the younger crops here just getting tied to their trellises. They're doing pretty well. We are having some issues with some of the cucumber plants dying a little earlier than we wanted them to, but young ones are on the way, so that's not too big of a deal. And then tons of other things. Right here is a wheat experiment, just one bed of wheat for fun, more flowers, herbs, dill heads for your cucumbers to make pickles with, chives, oregano, basil, lots of things going on here in these beds. You can see that most of the beds are full with something growing in them now. Garlic here in these front beds is about to come out. It always comes out in mid-summer. We picked the scapes a couple weeks ago, but now they are ready to be pulled. So this whole plot here will be coming out and then curing for good storage. And yeah, you can just see that there's tons of things growing in the garden. I'll keep walking so you can see. We've got peppers and eggplant on the way here. More lettuces, of course, newly planted beds, celery, carrots, big carrots, medium carrots, small lettuces for later on, turnips, all kinds of things. Lots of cabbages lined up and starting to put their heads together. Even some potatoes back there, more trellis things in the tunnels, rows of small onions, squash, tons of summer squash, bed on bed on bed, mature crops, medium-sized, small-sized, tons and tons of kale, onions that are getting very close to harvest. Some good red onions, so we'll have a lot of those coming in soon. Broccolis that are going out soon. Chards, beets, the pea plants that did okay this year but not that great. So lots of things in the garden and most of the beds are full. Now, a few empty ones here being held under tarps so that no weeds sprout. They'll be planted, of course, pretty soon. But it's much more lush than it has been as we get to this point. And early August is really kind of the peak of the garden when there's tons of stuff. Every bed is full, harvest of all kinds of crops, and that's a really exciting time, early August. And then down here in this last tunnel, we also have tomatoes. Some of our more mature tomatoes are coming in, so they're looking pretty good. We've just been harvesting the first tomatoes recently. Just a few are coming red, but there will be a lot more tomatoes. You can see all those green ones, heavy fruiting branches full of green tomatoes that will be ripening up in the coming weeks. Winter squash is down there. Lots and lots of pumpkins and winter squash down in those fields. You can kind of see, and yeah, tons of production coming out. The pastures are really beautiful this time of year. I don't know if you can see it in the video very well, but the colors in the pasture, a lot of greens and browns, all swaying and moving and shifting in the wind, is just really beautiful this time of year. There's a lot of grass growth out there. We did have an extremely dry June, and so grass growth was really slow for a while, but we've gotten some rain since then and it's picked back up, which is really nice because it was getting a little scary there for a while. Pretty significant drought, but hopefully things have shifted. You can see here the chickens are out on pasture here fertilizing this area. Our dairy cows are out there grazing. There's still a lot of grass out there, which is good because we got a long time yet to graze before the season is over. We even mowed this area of the pasture because some of you may know we are having a wedding here on the farm in about a month, and so that's where the ceremony is going to be. But it's going to have a beautiful view of all these lush green pastures, and that's going to be really fun. Let's get a little closer look at the birds. Here's Clementine. Aurora and Daisy are over there. We're still milking her every day and getting a good amount of milk. But you can see that some of this grass is really tall, even up to my head, and it's starting to go to seed, which is what happens this time of year after the solstice. That's kind of the signal from the sun to the plants that winter is coming. They need to set seed and fruit in order to lay their seed before winter comes. So a lot of these plants are starting to do that. That's why more of our fruiting crops are coming in, like tomatoes and peppers and eggplant, because the fruit comes after the flower. So got to get that flowering towards the middle of the season, and then the fruit develops after that. But yeah, grass is up and tall and swirling and blowing in the wind. And here is the chickens in their mobile coop. They've been doing okay. We've actually had a pretty significant predator issue this year, which has been quite vexing. Difficult to stop, almost a death fairly regularly in the flock. And we've tried a bunch of things to try to stop them. We've even had one of our workers has spent the night out here trying to hunt for that predator. We've got a few more things to try up our sleeve before we spring for a big livestock guardian dog, which are somewhat expensive to keep, but they're still laying a lot of eggs and they're doing really great things for the pasture here. This is an area that had a lot of saplings. You can see some of the little saplings maybe trying to shoot back up. So we cleared out a lot of those saplings, mowed them down, and now they're putting down a big dose of manure onto this area of the pasture to try to get that grass growing in more strong. But they're doing pretty well other than the predator, and we hope to figure that one out soon too. One issue that we've always had with our layers is in the second half of the season when the sunlight starts to decline, that also signals to them to lay fewer eggs. And we've always struggled to keep our egg production up in the second half of the year. And this year we are going to be building a solar paneled light supplement that goes in this coop on pasture. So it will be powered by a solar panel with a battery and be able to turn lights on in the dark periods of the day to keep the hours of daylight consistent, and that should help keeping their egg production up, which is really critical for them to be profitable and for our customers who need those eggs. But that's a project to build, and we're just kind of starting now that the sunlight is declining. We're starting on that project, and we hope to get that in place in the next week or two before the hours of sunlight really drop off too significantly. But that's the big project here, and it's kind of a problem that we've struggled with for many seasons. We're really excited to try to finally solve that one and be able to keep that egg production consistent all the way into the dark winter days as well. So we'll keep you posted on how that develops and show you what that looks like once we get it built. In this corner of the pasture, we have our meat birds in their floorless movable pasture pens. These birds are doing really well in the pens. This is our middle batch. We've still got 2 more. One's in the brooder and another one coming next week will be our last batch. But they're doing really well, moving across the pasture and fertilizing what's behind. All that grass back there has gotten a really good strong dose of chicken manure, which is super healthy for the pasture. We just finished a batch up there in those pens. They went off to the butcher this week, but this whole strip of grass behind where they were traveling is coming back really strong, deep, dark green grass, and it's gonna look awesome in a couple weeks. So we're really excited for that. We love how these meat birds just take any part of the pasture that we put them on that maybe isn't doing quite so well, isn't as healthy and verdant, and just supercharge it and bring it back to health really, really fast. So we love these birds for that reason. They also taste great. And if you are looking for soy-free, organic, pasture-raised chicken, you can see right here exactly how we do it. No chemicals, hormones, fertilizers, nothing. They're on fresh, clean grass every morning. They are comfortable, they have shade, they have sun, they have fresh air, they have fresh grass and bugs in their diet. This is kind of the best chicken you can possibly buy. It tastes incredible. But if you want some of that, please consider ordering now, maybe in bulk, 10, 20, 30, however many you go through in a year, and stock up on them because we need freezer space. Our freezers are completely full and we've got another batch going into the butcher soon, and we need to clear some of that inventory out so that we don't have to buy more freezers. So if you've been waiting, a lot of people wait till the fall to stock up on their meat, but if you can do that now, that would really help us out. So please consider grabbing some chicken. We'll bring it right to the drop site. It's really convenient. Just head to our website, check out the store, make a purchase. It's all really easy online, and then we bring it right to you. But yeah, pastures are looking great, thanks in part to the egg layers, thanks to the meat birds, thanks to the cows grazing, and health is being restored through these practices, which is really fun and exciting to be a part of. So get your chicken. And here we are in the brooder, lots of baby chicks in here, staying out of the sun, protected and comfortable. They're starting to get their true feathers, which is great because once they have those true feathers, they can regulate their body temperature a little bit better, and that's what's important before they go out on pasture. So they're doing great. They'll be out on pasture pretty soon, and we have 1 more batch of chicks to come in and raise up before the end. Another fun project going on here at the farm is the bakehouse, which you've probably seen in past videos, is getting enclosed, and we're putting an apartment up in the second half to house some of our workers. Stairwell on the back there. The bread oven is still inside here, and we still use it to eat and enjoy with our guests during the season, but it's great to be able to increase our capacity to house people and keep workers and stuff. Community and hospitality is always really important arm of our farm and kind of what the farm is designed for. We've made a lot of decisions as we've built this farm around our capacity to host people and exercise hospitality. We think that's really important, and having really good nutritious food is wonderful so that we can feed people, but having space to actually have people and sit with them and enjoy a meal with them is really important too. So we're building out this space a little bit more, and that's exciting to see it slowly take shape. You may remember that the bread oven was built 2 years ago, so things take time here on the farm. When we get a little bit of capacity, we add on and build things out a little bit more at a time. And this one is really exciting to see it taking this final step and getting enclosed, and that apartment upstairs getting finished off. So really excited to see that take another step forward. So that's about it for this week. As you can see, there's been a lot of growth, deep green, lots of leaves. This time in the season is just really lush time, and there's a lot of harvest starting to come in. Most of the uphill push is under control now. A lot of the weeds are under control. They will start to slow down in the second half of the year. A lot of the crops are in the ground, so that's gonna slow down a little bit, though we do start to pull out some of the early season crops and replace them with late season crops. So turning over beds from one crop to the next is kind of the big job. A lot of trellising of all of the crops like cucumbers and tomatoes that get trellised up to the rafters in these high tunnels. That's a big job that's going on right now. We're just trying to keep up and even get a little bit ahead before that wedding comes, so that we can enjoy those weeks in the middle of the season, and yeah, just trying to stay up on top of it. There is a ton of harvest coming out of the garden. The soil is getting better and better. As you might remember, last year we remineralized all of these beds, and the fertility has continued to improve and improve, which is really great, but it means we have more and more produce coming off of this small garden, and we actually have far more than we are currently selling. So if you know anybody who wants fresh produce, we're going to open up the second half of the CSA to more signups, so please tell your friends, let people know. We need more CSA members and we can handle more. There's tons of food coming out of this ground and we need to get it to people. It's really healthy food, deeply nourishing food, and we need to make that happen. So if you know anybody who wants that kind of food, or if you would like to switch from a half share to a full share for the second half of the year, we would highly encourage that. It would be really helpful to us at the farm and really encouraging to us as we do all this work. So let us know, shoot us an email, give us a call. If you know of somebody who would like to become a member or would like to try a box just for 1 week, or if you'd like to upgrade from a half share to a full share, let us know. And don't forget the chickens. We've got tons of chickens. We've also still got beef in the freezers. So the product is there if you would like it, and we would really encourage you to grab some now to help us with freezer space and inventory. So thank you for supporting us. Thank you for watching, checking in with your farm. I'm sure it is really fun to be able to see exactly where your food is coming from and the people who are doing the work and getting it all the way up to harvest. So thank you for being with us this whole season and watching the story unfold and eating all of this great food. And we'll see you at the drop sites and continue to enjoy the harvest in the second half of the season. So thanks for watching. See you next time.